got it! Kevin McCarthy should be the speaker!
For the 17th time, Mr. Goodell, you are not electing a new speaker of the House of Representatives. You are solving my riddle.
And then you let me out?
Only if you play my game.
Alright, first I'll start in the NFC. If the Eagles can figure out a way to not choke for the fourth consecutive week, they'll get the number one seed, and the road to the Super Bowl will go through the city of brotherly love. If Philly can somehow lose to the Giants practice squad, then the Cowboys beat the Commanders. Wait, we still have a team in Washington? I thought I shut that down. We're required by rule to let somebody in the NFC South out of the playoffs. And as far as the AFC goes, oh no. If the Chiefs beat the Raiders and the Bills beat the Patriots, then the Chiefs will be the number one seed and get the bye. But if those two teams meet in the championship, then the game will be played at a neutral yet to be determined location. If the Chiefs and the Bills lose and Cincinnati wins, and the Bills will be the one seed, and a championship of only two of the three teams would also be played at a neutral location. And with the Jets win and the Bills lose and Pittsburgh ties, then the Jets will be forced to take the worst quarterback in the first round. And if the Broncos, Chiefs, and Jaguars all tie, then Denver can send Russell Wilson back to Seattle as long as they pay the $30 restocking fee. I got it! You can let me out now!
You have not yet solved my riddle.
Oh, right! Is that what this hexaw's for?
All your eyes that tell the truth, all the line from me to you. We know it's tangled up in blue. What if we unravel? We could go anywhere to get this soon.
Hello, welcome. You're watching Once Upon a Time in Las Vegas, the rise of the greatest sports betting show in the world. I'm your host, Rocky Foré, here with the Steamroller. It's playoffs time. How you feeling about the playoffs, Steen?
I'm happy to be here, man. It's the 18-week season. In some ways, it seemed like it went by fast. In some ways, it seemed like it took forever. So I'm happy to be in the playoffs. Happy to be a Chiefs fan, enjoying the bye in the first round.
Yeah.
Always a good thing. So yeah, we're back for the playoffs. We're going to talk some playoff football, and I'm anxious to get going. How about you, buddy? Your Seahawks snuck in there, hit a little two-team parlay to make the playoffs. Nicely done.
Yeah, the Seattle Lions pulled it off.
Very nice. The Sea Lions for short, right?
Yes, the Sea Lions. I wish I thought of that before.
As Rocky said, welcome to Once Upon a Time in Las Vegas. It's good to be here. I'm the co-host, Scott Steehn, lead handicapper over at winnersandwhiners.com. And we do this every week. Every Thursday, the episode drops as we go out there and talk about games, and then the injury news changes everything we said. So enjoy the show, everybody. Before we get going, quick reminder, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, drop us a comment if you would. And, of course, we are sponsored by No House Advantage. Somebody's got to pay for the talent around here. No House Advantage, fantasy sports redefined. You can get up to 21 times return on your original wager if you play against the house and win them all, or you play against regular folks like yourself for a chance to win cash prizes. Simply go to nohouseadvantage.com or download the No House Advantage app. As always, we're joined by a couple of fantastic handicappers, and today is no different. Veterans of the show, veterans of their own shows. Veterans of, and one of them is an actual veteran. So yeah, let's talk to him. Here's a guy who's really, really happy to be living in South Carolina this winter instead of his home up near Buffalo. You know him, you love him. Oorah! Is that it? Is it oorah? Oorah? What is it? It's oorah, right?
Yes,
for the Marines?
You are correct.
All right,
Can
very
you use
good.
it in a sentence? Can I get the language of origin? Yeah. Language of origin is go do some push-ups, right, Shell? Okay, I'll do my best.
It's Chris King, everybody, the 21st century answer to Chesty Puller. So it's good to have him here. You didn't think I'd had that name in my repertoire, did you, buddy?
At least you didn't pull out Chester Nimitz or anybody else.
I did not. So how's your season been going, man? You've been killing it in the NFL?
Yeah, I mean, we had a good week this past week. I know that it's an anachronism, but, in our fantasy league, we actually play week 18. So it was nice to win the league title. I know Reichel probably won his the week before, but that's where all the losers play week 17. That's why they added
I don't know. How do you play week 18? Do you have to like cut half your roster because you're afraid of them getting pulled after 2 quarters? Like, how does that work?
No, I actually left
week 18 as well.
I actually left my roster intact except for switching out Herbert for Russell Wilson, which at halftime didn't look good when he was like 2 of 7 2 minutes before the half. But everybody else panned out.
Excellent. Congratulations on a fantasy sports victory. Hey, speaking of fantasy sports winners, I don't know where he's coming from. From a basement in Syria, apparently.
An undisclosed location.
Blink once if you're okay, buddy. You know him, you love him. He does daily videos making his picks, and sometimes they even win. It's Scott Reichel. What's up, my friend?
Doing pretty well. Like Chris, I did win a championship in fantasy in week 17. If there was week 18, my team actually crushed it as well. I ended up accidentally assembling a dream team, which is nice when that happens. But overall, definitely fun. Looking forward to going through the playoffs. Hopefully it's more competitive than the title game from yesterday, but it's pretty tough to find a game less competitive than the game yesterday.
Ooh. Is that, I was talking about it on my video. Is that the biggest beatdown you've ever seen in college, except for like true mismatches? The Cornell versus Bama or something like that. I mean, is that
California penal? Yeah.
Yeah. Is that the most dominating performance you've ever seen for a game like that?
I'd say yes. If you want to talk about pros, it's the equivalent of the Seahawks against the Broncos.
Okay, well that's
close
fair.
enough.
That was the largest margin of victory in any bowl game in history. For those of you that didn't hear that nugget, so
it was the largest in national championship history by 22 points.
Wow,
I thought you were going to say that was the equivalent of the exciting matchup back, and it was a regular season game, but back when Cincinnati got mauled by Houston, 61-3 or something like that, and Jerry Glanville called timeout so they could kick a field goal just to run up the score.
That's so very Jerry Glanville. All right,
so before we had a lot of battles.
Well, Kirby Smart went no huddle after going for it on 4th and 5, went up 45 points in the 4th quarter. So there was a bit of point rubbing in.
He's trying to get his second and third teamers some rally.
I get it, but they went no huddle at the 1 yard line, up 45 points. Like that was a little bit much, but whatever. Either way, good for Georgia.
No, and good for me. I was on the right side. I had the over and the and Georgia. So
yeah. And Stetson Bennett's coming back for his 37th year of college football. He'll be 40 by the time he graduates.
And that's just amazing. Those guys are playing that old. All right, so before we get rolling, which of the NFL games has the biggest chance to look like the national championship game? Chris, what's the biggest game with the biggest blowout potential?
Well, I mean, it basically boils down to, when we were talking about before the show started, is who plays quarterback. If Miami goes with Skylar Thompson, I think that one could be a blowout because, the weather is bad enough or can be bad enough as it is, and Thompson being a rookie. Other than that, I don't know if I trust the Giants against Minnesota. It depends which version of Kirk Cousins you get.
Okay, fair. Scott, which one? Obviously,
it's Buffalo. It's Buffalo, Miami.
Oh, I mean, that's the easy answer because that's the biggest spread. So, way to put some thought.
I mean, you're asking me for the easiest answer when I'm supposed to pick which team's going to win by 50. I feel like taking the biggest spread has some merit there. The sleeper candidate there is San Francisco. If you really think that the Seahawks just get buried again, but if Thompson's a quarterback or Mike Glennon or anybody but Tua, it's in Buffalo in January. We're going to talk about that game in a second, but it could get really, really ugly very quickly.
I'll tell you, the Bengals game could get ugly too. Rocky, what do you think? What do you think is the biggest blowout?
I got the cardiac kids here.
Who's that?
Giants have been falling apart. Vikings can steamroll them.
All right.
Will they? No. They'll win by 1.
Very good. All right. Well, on that golden nugget, let's kick it off, guys. And we are going to go. We're going to kind of break it down a little differently. We're going to do the conferences. We're going to do the NFC first, then we'll do the AFC. So if you're trying to follow along in chronological order or on the rotation order, you're going to be out of luck. We're going to skip around. The good news is there's only 6 games, so it should be easy to find it. All right. So we are going to start with the first game on opening day, and that is going to be the Seattle Seahawks at the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers 9.5 point favorites. Total in this one is 43. And guys, I thought just for fun, since we're down to a limited number of games, that we'd give a side and a total on each of these. So Sorry for springing that on you. I should have mentioned it yesterday when I put out the lines, but yeah, here we are. So time to scramble, boys. This San Francisco team has been playing some pretty good football right there. They've defense has been playing really well. They've won their last 8 by an average of 17.2 points per game. 6 of those 8 wins have come by double digits. And they have won all 5 of Brock Purdy's starts. Mr. Irrelevant has been extremely relevant with the injuries that hit the San Francisco quarterback room. Under Purdy, they have averaged almost 34 points per game. And like I said, it won all 5 of his starts. As far as the series between these two teams, well, as everybody knows, it's tough to beat a team 3 times. That we are going to examine today and dissect in detail.
Does that apply for the NFL, or is that only for college basketball and conference tournament time? Because usually when Steehn and I save that line.
You'll hear it. This week. I guarantee it. San Francisco won the first game. That was the second game of the season, 27-7. Only Seattle points in that game came on. Rocky, do you know?
Yeah, it was a kick return.
Blocked field goal.
Blocked field goal, yeah.
Yep, absolutely
Something
correct.
like that.
San Francisco won the second game 21-13. That was the 15th game of the season. Seattle had 10 and 12 play drives that ended up in field goals, and then they ended up scoring a late touchdown when it didn't mean anything. So what I'm trying to tell you is San Francisco's dominated pretty much between these two. Seattle's not exactly coming in hot. 1-7 ATS over their last 8. So it's a big number. It's San Francisco at home. I like this team. I don't hate Seattle, but I think they've maxed out by making the playoffs. A team that a lot of us thought would be bottom 5 this season. So I think Seattle's done a tremendous job. But I'll take the Niners here, -9.5, and I'll also play the under 43. Under has hit 4 straight for Seattle as that offense has struggled a bit. So I'm going to play the under there.
I'll agree with you there. I'm going to go with the same exact 2 picks, actually. The Niners are my pick to make it to the Super Bowl. I've had that for about a month, so nothing's really changed. Seattle, despite winning the last couple of games, offensively, really not good the last couple of games. Scored 13 against the Niners, including a garbage time touchdown with about 3 minutes to go. Scored 10 against the Chiefs. Scored 23 against the Jets, but they had the ball the entire game because the Jets didn't do anything. And they scored 16 points in regulation against the Rams. I don't think this offense is very good right now, and the Niners defense, I think, is really solid. Yes, they did struggle a little bit early on against the Cardinals. They gave up no points in the second half, and they struggled against Stidham, which I think they were clearly just looking ahead to a free win, and they kind of overlooked them. But the Niners are better in every single facet. I don't know what the Niners are worse at, to be honest, besides maybe quarterback, but Purdy's been really good. Give me the Niners. I think they dominate up front. Seattle still can't stop the run. I think the Niners run it down their throat the entire game. I'm going to go with the under, though, because I don't think Seattle does much. Give me some type of 27-10 game.
Yeah, I think you guys are on the right track here. I mean, we've seen how good San Francisco's been. They've actually won 10 straight since losing to Kansas City in late October. So they went from 3-4 to 13-4 as they ran away with the NFC West. Seahawks, like you guys said, give them credit for being here. Geno Smith had a good season. Nobody expected that from him because everybody thought it was going to be Drew Lock being the quarterback. Remember how great of a take that was back in August? Yeah, Drew Lock's going to be the quarterback, and then people don't even know if he's still alive. But the Seahawks defense, they're not that great. They're going to have a tough time stopping the run. They were 30th against the run this season, giving up over 150 yards a game. McCaffrey, and now that Mitchell's back, gives the 49ers a lot of weapons in the ground game. Plus, Deebo Samuel played last week. He'll get some carries because San Francisco doesn't know what else to do with him. I think the 49ers will win this one. They'll cover, and it's going to stay under the number. Like Steehn said, Seattle's gone under in each of their last 4. San Francisco's gone under in each of their last 4 games in the postseason. I don't see Seattle scoring enough to push this over the number. I'll say 27-13.
I'm going against you guys. I'm trying not to make a homer pick right now. Seahawks lost by 20 in week 2 and then by 8 the next time they play the 49ers. I think that's going to be close. I don't know if I have the Seahawks winning this game, but I think it's at least under 9.5, I think it'll be close. Seahawks defense has stepped up, even though they played the Jets and the Rams. We'll see. I don't know. I've watched the Pete Carroll Seahawks for a long time. I don't see them fading away and getting a blowout in the playoffs in the first round. I also got the over on this one. I see it as like a 28 to 21 kind of game.
All right, very good. Rocky is fading us all the way around. Bold move, Cotton. We'll see how it pays off. We're now going to move to the Sunday mid game. This is 4:40 Eastern time in the afternoon. Giants at the Vikings. Vikings minus 3, 48.5 is your total right there. These are, again, two teams that have played during the regular season. Pretty fine game as it came down to the last play, and Gano kicked a career-long 61-yard field goal in Week 16.
It was Joseph. Joseph hit the
Or,
67.
not Gano, Joseph, sorry. Giants, 2 turnovers in plus territory in that game. Fumble and an interception. Jones, very, very weird game because he threw the ball 42 times. Barkley got just 14 carries for 84 yards, so he's averaging 6 yards a pop. Well, let's stop giving him the ball. That makes sense. Breida tossed in 2 carries for 9 yards for a grand total of 16 carries. That ain't enough. 48.5 is the number. I'm going under there. I think the Giants are going to commit to running the football. I think they're going to throw it less than they did the first time around. And I think this one stays under the total 48.5.
Yeah, I'm going to agree again. I got Giants money line in this game. I made a pact with myself about, in Week 7, whoever Minnesota's playing in the first round, I'm betting the other team. And the fact that these teams played a very competitive game in Minnesota a couple weeks ago does make me kind of lean to the Giants. Now, they did rest everybody in the final game, and they're kind of conflicting schools of thought if they should try to keep momentum and use the starters or just keep everyone healthy. But the Giants are going to be amped to be there. I've seen Cousins in the playoffs. It's not pretty, but I do think you'll see a competitive game. Minnesota does not win big. They only win games in extremely crazy fashion, and I think the Giants keep this game close. But I do think that you're going to see a very, very close game, and for the first time this season, the Vikings will lose a one-score game in the NFL playoffs because it's weird. It's weird like that sometimes. So give me the Giants. I think they'll find a way. Ugly game, though. I see a 24-20 type game.
See, I'm going to go the other way here, and I'm going to take Minnesota. I just can't get behind a Giants team that has had – you talk about the Vikings having issues against the run. The Giants were just as bad, giving up 144 yards a game on the ground. So they were actually worse than Minnesota against the run. Now, we saw the Vikings didn't really run the ball that well this season because they were throwing to Justin Jefferson, and why not? But I think this could be a game where Dalvin Cook gets involved a little bit more, puts up over 100 yards. I just trust Minnesota's offense more than I trust Daniel Jones. I mean, we've seen this guy get tripped up by the 10-yard line before. He's had a good season. He'll probably get a decent contract, whether it's with the Giants or somewhere else next season, remains to be seen. But I just can't put my faith in a Giants team that, is known for imploding at the worst possible time. And I'm actually going to lean towards the over here. Minnesota had gone over the total 6 straight games before last week against the Bears, which we saw had the inspired quarterbacking play of Nathan Peterman and Tim Boyle. I think this one's going to end up 31-24. So the Vikings will win a one-score game and cover the line. I think it's going to end up over the total, playing on the, the fast track of U.S. Bank Stadium indoors.
Yeah, we just talked about the Seahawks not coming in hot. The Giants aren't coming in hot either. After starting 6-2, they beat the Texans, lost to the Lions, lost to the Cowboys, tied the Commanders, lost to the Eagles, beat the Commanders, beat the Colts, and lost to the Eagles. Those 3 wins since Week 8 have come against the Texans, the Commanders, and the Colts. That's who they've beaten in the last 2 months. 2 months plus. It's the Cardiac Kids by a mile, and I also got the over.
Not to mention
you
that
just said they'd win by 1 like 5 minutes ago.
Well, I said they'll probably win by 1.
Okay, just saying. Okay, cool.
Not to mention that win over the Commanders was bolstered by Terry McLaurin getting flagged for being lined up wrong after the official told him he was lined up right.
Yeah, that was brutal.
Oh yeah, yep.
That was brutal. Absolutely. All right, very good.
My heart tells me the Vikings will win by 20, but history says they'll win by 1. So that's what I mean by that, Reichel.
All right. And now we're headed to prime time on Monday night, 8:15. Cowboys head to the pirate ship to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. We're somehow allowed not only in the playoffs, but to host a game. There you go. Cowboys, road favorites, 2.5. 45.5 is your number. And I'm sure Scott has some fun stats about the Dallas Cowboys' ineptitude in the playoffs. But I'll just give you this one. The Cowboys haven't won a road playoff game since 1992. They are 0-9 in that stretch. The Bucs, well, the defense has had some issues with good teams. They've given up 27 or better to every good offense they faced this season, except one.
No, Dallas.
And that's the Dallas Cowboys when they gave up 3 points in the opener. The Bucs, the one caveat with them is they've got a lot of questions on the in the defense on the injury side that have to be answered before this game. But assuming we've got the majority of those guys healthy that are going to play, I'm going to ride the Bucs here. I cannot and will not take the Cowboys in a playoff game, especially on the road, especially laying points to Tom Brady. Give me the Buccaneers. I'll play the over here. You're not going to be able to run the ball on Tampa Bay. I think both these teams end up throwing the ball around the yard. I'll take the over 45.5 as well.
Yeah, you also didn't mention that in addition to beating Brady on the road, they'd have to do it with Mike McCarthy as their head coach. That was not also included in your breakdown. But
Fair.
I'm going to go with Tampa as well. It's a spot where the Cowboys no-showed the last game. Do I really care much about it? No, because at the end of the day, the Giants benched everybody. The game didn't matter. However, the one thing that stuck out to me was how bad Dak Prescott looked. What did he go, 14 for 37?
Yeah.
Yeah, wasn't good.
And now you're facing off against Tampa. That's not exactly a good situation. Tampa punted their game as well against Atlanta after halftime. But you're having a home game. The Cowboys have been very good at home this season. On the road, not so much. I just think at the end of the day, you're going to see a classic Cowboys playoff game with a lot of stupid penalties, a couple of dumb turnovers, probably Dak interception. I don't know what the juice is going to be, but I think he's probably going to throw at least one. I think Tampa finds a way. We've seen Brady in the playoffs find his way to magically win playoff games. I've seen the Cowboys magically lose playoff games. People will take the Cowboys blindly because of the fact that they're the more talented team. Tampa's 8-9. They shouldn't be here. Well, you're not wrong. But based on how Dallas played lately, I'm not overly impressed. I think at the end of the day, you'll see a team that is going to struggle, and I think you're going to see a very ugly game. This will not be pretty. I'm going to lean to the under. Give me Tampa in some heartbreaking 23-20 type game.
Where Dak Prescott runs around and, lets the clock run out on the final play of the game when they're trying to kick a field goal.
That's another wild card factor. You got Kellen Moore's play calling, which has not been ideal the last couple of weeks. So
can't even imagine being a Cowboys fan and watching that play out, trying to get him for the last play, and then he takes off down the field. Like, what are you doing?
Well, my dad and I did it, so I can tell you what the exact emotions were when that happened.
Not good?
What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you out of your mind? Or do you know that you don't have any timeouts? Yeah, it was chaos in that game against San Francisco. But
followed 30 seconds later by, you want to go get a slice? Yeah,
yeah, pretty much, yeah.
I was watching it on Nickelodeon, too, and so even, Squidward was confused at what Dak Prescott was doing.
That's not what he wanted to cook.
Historic roast.
Yeah.
Chris, what do you got, buddy?
I think that you've got to go with Tampa Bay here. One number that you both overlooked is this one. In his career, Tom Brady is 7-0 against Dallas. Like you said, in week one, Dallas put up a whopping 3 points against Tampa Bay. Only had 244 yards of offense in that game. I don't have any faith in them going into Tampa Bay. Let's face it, like you said, they haven't won a road playoff game in 3 decades. Tampa Bay is going to win this one. It's going to stay under the total. Those 6 of the last 7 matchups between these teams under the total. And of those 7, 3 of them stayed under the total by double digits, including 2 of them that stayed under by 27.5 points. I don't think it'll be quite that bad, but I don't see either team scoring more than 21. I think I'm going to take Tampa Bay 21-16.
My whole entire life has been plagued by the legend of Tom Brady. I'm tired of it. I thought Logan Ryan took away that thing, whatever you call it, his legacy. Not his legacy, his mojo. He goes to Tampa Bay, wins another Super Bowl. You know what? That man is mortal. And I got three more words for you. Des caught it. I think that this is going to be an era of change for the Dallas Cowboys. They're the ones who are gonna win this game on miraculous fashion. I got the Bucs covering, but the Cowboys winning with the under. That's a Rockies proppy.
That is
Dak Prescott 2 interceptions.
Right,
Tom Brady 3.
I've got three words for you, Rock. Romo fumbled it.
He did.
Well, he did recover,
But it's a new
and then
era.
he ran, so that is true. But I remember watching that game too against Seattle. But still, my question for you guys, since the line is at 2.5, are you assuming it goes to 3, or are you assuming it goes down to 2?
I think a lot of it's going to depend on what comes out on the injury report, but I could see it going to 3 because you'll, like Steehn said, you're going to have people blindly throwing money at Dallas just because they're Dallas, and
I think it goes
mediocre.
I think it goes the other way. I think they've got some problems in the defensive backfield for Tampa already baked into that number. So I think if those guys get healthy, that number may go down a little bit.
I'm assuming most of Tampa's guys are going to play because they were able to sit out a meaningless game, so they had an extra bye week basically for half the team.
And Dallas has already said they expect Van Der Esch to play as well as Biotish, and they're supposed to activate Hankins from IR as well. So they expect.
I still don't like
healthier.
Dallas' secondary though. I still don't like that secondary unit. Their second corner and third corner, I'm really just not sold on for that team.
Okay. Hey, we're done. We're halfway done. That's our first segment, guys. Hard to believe. Rocky,
Only 3 games.
I know.
Oh, I was just going to say you got shocked because we got through game 3 and we're already done with the NFC.
Absolutely. All right, guys. So stay tuned to Once Upon a Time in Las Vegas, the rise of the greatest sports betting show in the world, because we will be back right after these messages. See you then.
Hello, students. Once again, we are having career day during lunch. 5th period will start at its normal time of 1:20.
So, kid, you want to learn about the Army?
Sure, I guess.
You'd learn a lot of life skills, make some lifelong friendships. We pay for your college after, and maybe if you're lucky, you can shoot a guy.
I don't know about that.
Well, if shooting's not your thing, you could work towards being a mechanic or a pilot or a typist.
That feels like a lot of work.
You don't want to do something with a lot of work, huh? Then I've got the career for you.
Okay.
And come on over to Mizzou, a.k.a. University of Missouri, where we take average people like you and turn them into NFL quarterbacks.
You mean backup quarterbacks?
Still NFL quarterbacks.
I guess, but wouldn't the Army be easier?
No. That's where you're wrong. It's so easy. You know Chase Daniel, right?
No.
Well, he went to Mizzou, and he's made $41 million in 5 starts in 12 years. How much to make in the Army, Private Dingleberry?
About $22,000.
Right. You know Drew Lock?
Didn't he retire?
No, Lock, not Luck. He's making $1.7 million this year, and he hasn't even thrown the ball all season.
Yeah, but isn't he a backup?
Now you're getting it, and if you don't want to take my word for it, just ask our newest commit, Derek Carr.
I thought I recognized you. You're that guy that cried on TV. What? No.
See, Derek Carr lost his starting job, so he's going to come to Mizzou, where he can learn how to be the best backup he can be from the school that teaches you how to be the best backup you can be. You know Blaine Gabbert?
The national hero?
Mizzou. Brad Pitt?
That's not a quarterback.
Mizzou. Sheryl Crow? That's a Mizzou. Now you're just naming people. George C. Scott? Mizzou. Well, the Army's crafted many great people. Mr. T, the Army, Chris Cooper, Richard Pryor, Army, David Koechner, Pat Sajak, clerk typist, but still Army, Tennessee Williams, Mizzou, Ice-T.
Oh my God, stop. Just give me a lanyard and I'm going to the H&R block table.
Fine.
Case Keenum, Mizzou.
He didn't go to Mizzou! God, read up on your school history, Derek.
Sorry.
Do you want a shirt?
Does it look like yours?
Yep, made it myself. Let's just say Amazon Prime has not been very prime. It's still in the mail.
Then no.
Oh, hello. My name is Beauregard Jefferson Davis Wilkes Booth Underwood, but my friends call me the Colonel. Yo, what's up? Nice to meet you, Corporal. I'm Rocky Foré the First. My friends call me what the hell. Excuse me? Yeah, like what the hell are you doing with that possum? Or what the hell did you expect was gonna happen if you put your shoes in the air fryer? Well, Rocky, it's certainly nice to meet you. Have a seat. Ignore my crown. I'm rich. Oh, cool crown. Now, son, I hear you're interested in sponsoring the Birmingham Bowl.
Yes, sir, I am.
As I'm sure you know, we were unable to secure sponsorship this season, so the city actually paid the $500,000 sponsorship fee, And I bet you would get that we don't want that to happen again in the future.
Yes, sir.
Now, why don't you tell me a little bit about your company? Oh, well, it's called Rocky's Bonsai trees. They're like these little, not like, they are these little shrubs that you can put anywhere, like on your desk or in your bedroom or even the kitchen or the bathroom. And then every day you have to trim them with these cute little scissors, and you have to get it just right. Or else if you miss it, you have to cut the other side to make it a little more symmetrical. But then if you cut a little bit too much on that side, then you have to go back to the other side, trim it off, and you're trying to like make sure that each side is the same. And then don't get me started on the top, because if you start on the top and you do a little too much on the top, you gotta go on the bottom, and then you might have too much on the bottom, and you gotta go back on the top to make sure that's symmetrical. And then you realize you might have to do more on the right, and more on the left, and more on the right, and more on the top, more on the bottom, and then it's very relaxing. Yeah, it certainly sounds that way. But the best part is, if you want one, you have to go to a bonsai party. So let's say you're running a party and you have all your friends over to buy trees from you, and then they have parties to sell to their friends, and then their friends have parties to sell to them, and then their friends... I think I get it. You're running a Ponzi scheme. Excuse me, Captain. It is called a bonsai. Right. Well, Mr. Foré, as I mentioned before, you've caught us at a good time. We're working very hard to secure a new sponsorship, and I'm sure that Birmingham and Rocky's Bonsai trees would make a great partnership. Hey, that's great! Everybody's gonna be having a bonsai party. Now, as to the remuneration. Remuneration, Mr. Foré. Remittance? Payment, Rocky. How will you be paying the $500,000 fee? Personal check, wire transfer, cashier's check, perhaps? Ah, gotcha. Trees, comma, bonsai. Excuse me? Trees. And I'll do it at my cost. So how's 64,000 of Rocky's bonsais work for you? It sounds like an aviary nightmare from which I fear I'd never wake up from. Huh? It's gonna be a no from me, dog. Rocky, we generally don't do in-kind transactions of this magnitude. It'd have to be an extremely valuable product, which everybody would love with virtually no downside. Now, if you excuse me, well, I do have another product. Everybody loves them, and I can't keep them in stock. Rocky's Farts in a Jar Variety Pack. We got chili farts, asparagus farts, popcorn farts, shrimp farts, banana farts. Get out now! Burrito farts, ice cream farts, lasagna farts, crepe Suzette farts, broccoli farts, farts if you had too much styrofoam for some reason, farts where, it's like you've never farted before. Get out! Okay, but I'll be back. You have not heard the last of What the Hell Foré. Yeah, Jenny, can you do me a favor? Can you look into a bonsai tree? No, not bonsai, bonsai. Thank you. Really would spruce things up around here.
All right, everybody, well, welcome back. It is part 2 of today's Wildcard weekend breakdown. I'm Scott Steehn. It's Rocky Foré. It's Scott Reichel. It's Chris King. We're all part of Once Upon a Time in Las Vegas, and it is undoubtedly the greatest show in the history of sports betting. So welcome aboard. We're now going to talk about the AFC. It's the late night prime. It's the prime time slot on Saturday night, man. This is the spot sometimes you get to see those snow games and a little weather. Yeah, not this year. It's going to go. The road for round 1 goes through Jacksonville, everybody. The Chargers and the Jags. Chargers on the road, 1-point favorites. 47.5 is the number. Well, we talked about it a little bit before as we were coming back from break. Brandon Staley has apparently dodged the bullet because Murray and Williams will both be playing this game after suffering injuries in a what the hell are you even doing in this game? Anybody have a theory on what the hell they were playing for?
I guess they just wanted to stay sharp. And nobody wanted to watch Chase Daniel play quarterback.
Are we going to point out the fact that even with the starters, they were still losing to the Broncos, or we're just not going to bring that up?
Yeah, I think Broncos good defense. So
sure, yeah, Russell Wilson put up a lot of points. I'm just going to throw it out there. He played pretty well.
Chase Daniels has made $40 million in 12 years
for holding the clipboard most of the time.
Started 5 games.
How many pass attempts has he had? Like, I don't know if you have that in front of you. I'm curious. I want to know the millions per pass attempt. That's really what I'm wondering.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, no, I looked up the stats when I was writing the Mizzou sketch today, but I don't remember.
In his career, Chase Daniel has completed.
I'm going to guess he's
186 of 273 passes.
Okay.
He went 5 for 7 with a touchdown last week.
Nice. Write that check. Write that check, baby.
140,
how many passes?
140 of his passes came in his 2 seasons in Chicago.
You said 237?
273.
273. Okay. So that equates, just quickly, to roughly $146,000 per completion. And per pass attempt. He got paid $146,000 to throw the ball in the air.
Good work if you can get it.
Yep, very.
You can get it. All right. So, hopefully for Chargers fans' sakes, they won't see Chase Daniel this week.
Unless it's
Jacksonville. Here's the deal. Jacksonville can actually run the football against shitty run defenses. And there's only 4 run defenses that are shittier than the Chargers. And none of them are playing Jacksonville. So I think this is going to be more of a grind than people anticipate. I think there's going to be a lot of long drives, perhaps that end in field goals. My best play here is the under 47.5. But I think at the end of the day, I think Jaguars fever. I think the crowd's going to be fired up. I mean, Jaguars pull out a late victory here.
So I'm going to go with the Jaguars as well. The question, what line do you currently have?
I've got Chargers -1.
It was originally 2.5, correct?
Yes.
And depending where you go, Caesar's got it now, has it as a pick'em.
Just saying, though. So the point is, money's poured in on Jacksonville. You've seen roughly a 2-point line move already, and you don't have a serious quarterback injury involved. I'm taking Jacksonville. I think Staley's a horrible football coach. I don't think he should have a job. Maybe as a coordinator. Doug Peterson, they didn't look great against Tennessee, but they found a way to make the playoffs in a really bad division. But I think Peterson's a much better coach. And we saw these teams play earlier this season. It was the first game after Herbert needed crazy glue for his ribs, but the Jaguars killed them, and the Jaguars won the game comfortably. I think Jacksonville with the home crowd is going to be into it. And I think that at the end of the day, I don't trust Staley to make smart decisions with the game on the line. Maybe they'll go for it on 4th down at their own 30 and they'll fail. Something dumb's going to happen with this team. But I don't like how the Chargers have played. I don't trust Staley as a coach. And I think that with the home crowd, Jacksonville finds a way. Once again, with the Chargers, you have a dome team traveling outdoors. It's not the cold, but still you're traveling outdoors. Give me Jacksonville to get the job done. I will lean to the over, though. I do think both teams are going to generate big plays. I'm not sold on Jacksonville's secondary, and I'm definitely not sold on the Chargers' run defense. I see points. Give me Jacksonville winning this game. Let's say 28-24.
Yeah.
Right. No matter how many times we talk about it, you still keep referring to the LA Stadium as a dome, not a dome.
Sorry, it's a dome above, but through the sides.
It's a bunker.
That's a good way to put it. It's a bunker. I'm sorry if you want to build a roof that doesn't cover the side. That's their problem.
It's an open-air bunker.
Okay.
Chris, what you got here?
Well, I mean, this could be an interesting game because, like Reichel just pointed out, Jacksonville's secondary is terrible. They were 28th in the league, so they're just as bad as the Chargers were against the run, against the pass. The question is, can the Jaguars cover Keenan Allen and Williams and Josh Palmer? And I guess you could put Gerald Everett in there if you want to. He doesn't do a whole lot. And then you've got, probably one of the, would you say Austin Eckler is one of the top 3 dual threat backs in the league at this point?
Dual threat? He's got to be 2. I mean, McCaffrey's going to be 1 no matter what. I don't think you'll find a better one besides him. So I'll put him at 2.
Jared McKinnon.
Yeah, okay. Does McKinnon ever run the ball? Or does he just score touchdowns?
No, he runs the ball too. You see he's got more, you see all the people he had more touchdowns in?
Yeah, it's an impressive list.
It really is. Really is.
But, Eckler caught, 100, I think it was 107 balls, something like that, during the regular season. And while Reichel did bring up a good point that Jacksonville, stomped the Chargers back in week 3, it seems like 95% of the Chargers were missing or banged up in that game. Joey Bosa didn't play and everybody else. Bosa's back now. I'm concerned whether Rocky's stunt double will be able to hold up if Bosa beats whoever's playing tackle. The Jacksonville offense didn't look great against Tennessee, and we know how bad Tennessee was defensively this year. Jacksonville isn't a team that necessarily embraces success. last time they were in the playoffs, Blake Bortles was their quarterback.
They were so close to a Super Bowl appearance. They were so damn close. But
yeah, but I remember in that year they beat Tyrod Taylor and the Bills 10-3 by scoring on a 4th down pass to the 7th-string tight end too. So they were nearly knocked out in the opening round. I'm going to take the Chargers. I don't know if it gets over the total. If you look at recent events, the Jaguars had stayed, or the Chargers had stayed under in 5 straight before last week. Jacksonville stayed under in 3 straight. And let's face it, Jacksonville, they kind of lucked out being here. If it wasn't for Josh Dobbs fumbling the ball with under 3 minutes to go. I don't know if they've got enough chops offensively. Granted, they're a lot better than they were a year ago. I got to give Doug Peterson and that team credit. I just don't know if they're ready to take the next step.
I think Staley is such a huge wild card that anything could happen with him to blow the game.
If you had
how I
over
look
30
at it.
minutes before Reichel calls for his first coach to be fired, you cashed your ticket. Congratulations.
Oh, I mean, it was a given. Unfortunately, Kingsbury did get fired, so I lost a coach I can complain about. But
Which
yeah,
I pointed out yesterday on Twitter. I said somewhere Reichel's crying because of the fact that Kingsbury's been fired.
I enjoyed the jokes, though. The thing is, I want coaches to be fired because they should, but as soon as they get fired, I'm sad because I can't rant about them anymore. It's like I lose a piece of my content,
Yes, absolutely. Rock, what do you think, buddy?
I think that Brandon Staley looks like he's too shy to speak up at book club. There's no way he's going to call a good game. Jaguars won on September 25th by 28 points. I don't think they can do 28 points again, but they're definitely going to win this game by more than... Oh, well, they're not even favorited. Why are they not favorited?
Yeah.
I want the under, though.
Okay. All right. Very good.
Like 24-20. I like that.
Rocky agrees with me. Very good. You're on the right side of history there, buddy.
Thank you.
That or hell froze over.
The early window Sunday is going to be the Miami Dolphins leaving the comfortable environs of Florida to travel to upstate New York in January. Always a fun trip as they take on the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo 10.5-point favorites there in Orchard Park. 45 is the number there.
Well, actually, DraftKings is the only one I see 45. Everybody else has 44.5.
Point is, it's going up by 2 points.
Yeah.
So it looks like if I were a gambling man, I would gamble at this point if Tua is not going to play. Chris asked me yesterday if I thought he'd play. I said I did. I figured he would clear protocols on Monday, start practicing with the team, and be ready to go. That has not happened. In fact, he is not even to the last step in the protocols, if I understand it correctly. So it appears unlikely Tua will take the field because all the criticism they've received, any 50-50 decision, he's going to sit. And so that's going to leave Skylar Thompson as your starter. Not ideal against this Buffalo defense that is pretty darn good. The other problem is Miami defense average at best. I think they're going to struggle to contain this Bills offense, and they have no shot to keep up without Tua on the field. Bills, you mentioned good scoring defense. They are number 2 in the league in allowing points. I think they flex their muscles here against this pretty hapless offense right now, the Miami Dolphins. I'll take the Bills minus 10.5 and under 45.
I think Miami's going to get their brains beaten in. I think Buffalo's going to kill this team. Besides all the emotional stuff going on with Hamlin, I just think that Buffalo is the much better team. I saw the Dolphins not score a touchdown against the Jets. A Jets team that had nothing to play for in the final game of the season. In fact, they weren't even close to scoring a touchdown. I'm not sure they got within the 20-yard line. Did they have any red zone appearances in the entire game? I actually want to pull that up.
They didn't, but I don't remember any.
I'll see if I'll check it out real quick.
They might have on the outskirts and settled for a field goal, but they were never within the 10-yard line. I can tell you that much. They were not even close to scoring. I think Buffalo's going to kill them. I just think that it's a good spot for Buffalo in front of the home crowd to dominate against a weaker team. You can make a serious case that the 7th seed in the NFL playoffs is a waste of time because all the teams in probably shouldn't be. This team's awful, Miami, and it's not their fault because Tua got hurt, but the drop-off is so huge. Once again, they scored 8 points. They scored 9 points offensively on 3 field goals against the Jets. Buffalo has great offense. Miami's overall defense isn't great. I think Buffalo can name the score here. Once again, we said when the show started, I'm not picking it to be the exact same thing as the Georgia title game, but I think Buffalo wins by north of 3 touchdowns. Give me Buffalo in a rout.
Miami's deepest penetration in that game was the 19-yard line. They settled for a pair
I
of
was right.
37-yard field goals.
So they barely reached the red zone by 1 yard in the entire 60 minutes. Good luck to you keeping up with Josh Allen and company. No, Buffalo's going to kill this team.
One of the things that I'm looking at, too, is now, Raheem Mostert broke his thumb. He's supposed to have surgery. They don't know if he's going to play either, which means you'd go down to Jeff Wilson Jr., who, granted, he had some decent numbers after coming over. But the reason why San Francisco got rid of him was because he fumbles a lot.
And he gets hurt a lot.
Can we talk a minute about how tough that is? How tough these sons of bitches are. He's having surgery on his thumb this week. He's questionable.
Covers has him marked as doubtful.
If I have surgery on my thumb, and I have a desk job, I'm taking a month off. Fuck it.
If you have surgery on your thumb, Steehn, you couldn't walk.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely true. So, hat tip to the guys that do that kind of shit.
I'm not going to fully roast NFL players, but it's also going to make us a bit squeamish. Blake Wheeler for the Winnipeg Jets is playing hockey with a ruptured testicle. So I think hockey players are tougher. Let's put it that way. But NFL players are a different breed as well.
Fair.
Just going to throw that out there.
So what are you saying, Chris?
I mean, the big thing is we don't know who's going to play quarterback. I think you're both right. I don't think Tua's going to play, and that's going to make it very tough for Miami. We saw how, I guess, pedestrian is the right word for what Skylar Thompson did offensively.
Maybe run over pedestrian, but yeah.
But what is there to like about this Miami team if Tua doesn't play? Is there anything we like about this team?
You still have
two good receivers.
Receiver core, yeah.
Yeah, I get it, but if the quarterback can't get him the ball enough, I don't. And Waddle was banged up in that game last week against the Jets. He's going to play, but I'm curious how healthy he is. Once again, I don't know what there is to like about Miami in this spot.
My other concern is if I was a Miami fan, which I'm clearly not, is what kind of shape is my offensive line in? Because Armstead has been banged up and missed a couple games. Brandon Shell got hurt last week too. Kendall Lamb is hurt. Eric Fisher they put on injured reserve. Who do they have left to play tackle? You got Austin Jackson is still out indefinitely. So you're down to what, your third or fourth string tackles? They just got Jerron Christian off waivers. Do you want to stick that guy in to try and protect the blind side of whoever you've got playing quarterback against a pass rush that, as bad as it was that Von Miller went down, Buffalo's pass rush numbers have actually gone up since he got hurt, which is weird because obviously I was very hyped about Miller when he came to town. But they've been better with Shaq Lawson and Russo and Boogie Basham and Epinesa and all these guys.
They've been blitzing more, though, right?
No, they're not.
They're not?
They're not really blitzing, no. They're getting home with 4 guys because they've got 87 guys on the defensive line they can rotate in and out. I'd like to, be impartial and say it's going to be a close game, but if Tua doesn't play, I don't see how Miami can stay close because that defense is so mediocre. They were fortunate to win the game in Miami when half the Buffalo guys were keeling over on the sideline with heat exhaustion. Then they folded in Buffalo when they had a chance to win that game. I think Buffalo wins this one by double digits. I think it will go over the total because there's so many times that you see these games in December and January up there where you get these high-scoring games out of nowhere. And we saw Josh Allen for 3 quarters. We had to listen to how they hadn't had a play over 20 yards. And then, he hits John Brown for a 42-yard touchdown. He hits Diggs for a 49-yard touchdown. And, I don't think Miami – sure, they traded for Bradley Chubb, but I don't think it's going to make a difference. I think Buffalo wins by at least 14 or 17 points. But I'll also take the over.
I didn't mention it before, by the way. I'm going to lean to the under. I think Miami scores about 10 points, and I think Buffalo is going to go up early. They'll coast. Give me Buffalo win this game potentially 31-10.
Yeah, I see it being 35-17.
Okay.
I don't think you guys are giving the Dolphins enough credit. This is a team that started 8-3 and somehow dragged themselves into the playoffs by scoring 11 points against the Jets.
3-8.
No,
What?
they were 8-3. He's saying they fell apart.
Oh, sorry.
But
Yeah,
managed to
that's right.
Figure it out in the final game.
That's a team that doesn't give up. They lost 5 straight games and all momentum and somehow came out and scored only 11 points, and that was enough to make the playoffs. You're going to see a Lazarus type of team right now. They have been raised from the dead, given a second chance at life. It's a whole new season. I think they could go out there and score 20 points. Of course, the Bills would score 28 points, but there you go.
Let me ask you, Rock, when's the last time you've been to Buffalo in January?
2006.
How much snow was on the ground?
A lot. I'm still there because I was frozen for years.
That was very specific. You were ready. 2006. You knew the exact time. You knew exactly. Okay, I'm impressed. Okay.
Anticipated.
Yeah, I was following Usher around the country.
Chris was expecting you to say I've never been there, and then you immediately just said an actual year. I don't think he was ready for that. But
all right.
My answer would have been you should have been there in 2001.
No one should be there ever. I agree. No one should ever be in Buffalo for any reason whatsoever except to stop and eat wings on your way to Niagara Falls. That's it.
Well, then we could say there's no reason to go to Kansas City except to eat barbecue on your way to Lawrence or Manhattan.
We don't have 9 feet of fucking snow in the winter. We don't have
I lived in Missouri. I know there's snow that it snows there.
Look, even if there is snow, nothing's going to compare to besides maybe Colorado. If you want to talk about winter snow, there's not much that can.
Yeah, if you're not by the mountains or the lake, shut up. You're not getting that kind of snow. Sorry.
Closest I went was Binghamton, and I was freezing. It wasn't even snowing. It was cold as hell. But
there's nothing like Atlantic City with a crisp $20 in your pocket, 55-degree breeze blowing in, and you're ready to make yourself another 20.
We also didn't mention
specific.
We also didn't mention enough Miami's going to be traveling to freezing weather in January, which isn't exactly fun. It was mentioned briefly by Steehn, but that's also another variable you might want to throw in there.
Also true. All right, and now the last game. It's the primetime Sunday night game. Going to be a rematch of last week's game. It's the Bengals. It's the Ravens. This one's going to be in Cincinnati. Cincinnati 6.5 point favorites. 43.5 is the total. Well, last game it was Tua. This game it's Lamar. Nobody knows. We're supposed to maybe hear something tomorrow on Wednesday. So maybe by the time this video comes out, we'll know what's going on with Lamar Jackson. Is 5 straight he sat out or 4?
5.
I think it's 5.
I think it's 5 also. I think it was 4 going into last week. Assuming he doesn't play, because I don't know what else to do at this point. This Ravens offense has been awful without Jackson. With Hundley and Brown as the starting quarterback, they've averaged 13 points per game. They've scored a grand total of 4 touchdowns in those 5 games. Call me a skeptic, but I don't think that's going to get it done against Cincinnati. I don't think 0.8 touchdowns is going to get it done against the Bengals. By the way, both of those marks are the second lowest in the NFL over that 5-week span.
Real quick, Scott, according to the Ravens team site, Ian Rappaport said Lamar Jackson has told people he thinks he'll be back, but then Rappaport also then said other people who watched him aren't so sure.
So, terrific. Thanks for that update, Chris. It really clears it up for us.
Well, the point is, even if he does play, he'll be what, like 70%? The fact that he doesn't look sharp doesn't mean that him playing is really going to have that much of an impact. It's going to be better than Huntley.
If he's playing on a bad knee, you take away part of his running game, and that's really what makes Lamar.
True. He was only supposed to be out 1 to 3 weeks, so you have to wonder. I mean, Reichel brought it up before. Is he kind of stringing this out because of the fact that he wants to prove how valuable he is by watching his team tank, or what?
I mentioned it before it went on air. I was going to bring that up again before you did, but yeah, it's really, really just weird how this Lamar situation is playing out. By the way, Steehn, did you officially give your pick, or did we interject?
I did not give my pick yet.
Okay, so I'll let you finish your thing, and then we'll go back in order.
I can chatter. I got to play the Bengals here, guys. I think this Bengals team is the team to beat in the playoffs this year. I I have a bold prediction for the AFC playoffs. I think at least one of the two teams, the Chiefs or the Bills, do not play in the conference finals. I don't know who it'll be, but I think one of those teams will not play in the conference final. I think there will be no neutral site in the picture by the time the conference championship game rolls around. That's just me. In this one, I like the Bengals. I think the Bengals are playing a really good football right now. They toyed around a little bit with the Ravens last week, but they were able to get it done. I think they're going to be a lot more focused at home. They know what it takes. They've been here before. They did it last year. I'll take the Bengals minus 6.5, and with only getting points from one side of the equation, with Baltimore likely contributing very little, I have no choice but to play the under 43.5.
Yeah, you said it's a bit of a bold call. A month ago, my Super Bowl prediction was 49ers Bengals, so nothing's really changed for me. I think Cincinnati's really, really good. And I'm not the biggest Zach Taylor guy. He's good enough, though. But the point is, I do think with Baltimore's current Lamar questions, it's the fact that he was supposed to only miss 3 weeks tops. Now he's missing roughly double the amount of time he was projected to miss. Something's weird behind the scenes. And I'm not saying that Lamar's being selfish because he's trying to protect himself in a contract year and something, but there are a lot of variables at play that make this seem extremely sketchy. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, without knowing, I mean, if I lived in Baltimore and read reports every day, I mean, maybe there was an infection, maybe there was some sort of setback in his recovery. I don't know, but not it. If that wasn't the case, then yes, it's definitely sketchy.
Even besides the contract stuff, let's say you're right. Let's say there was an infection. The point is something's gone wrong with the rehab process.
Right.
And now you're going to rush him in potentially after not practicing for what, 5 weeks, 6 weeks?
Yeah, because he got hurt in the Broncos game back on December 4th.
Yeah. So you're going to throw him in without practicing for about 6 weeks, or maybe practices once or twice this week, and you're going to throw him into a playoff game. Like, I think even if he does play, I don't know why people are expecting him to be good, and I don't think he's going to play. So I'm going to take Cincinnati because Baltimore, please stop putting them on primetime TV. Please. Like, if Lamar's not playing and they're using Huntley, they should be banned from nighttime games. But
they will be after this week.
I'm just saying, I'm going with Cincinnati. They're my pick to make it to the Super Bowl. I think this team, after making it last year, Burrow is incredible. Chase is healthy. Higgins is healthy. Got banged up last week, but didn't miss any time. He came back into the game. Mixon's good. The defense is solid enough. Huntley stinks, man. Like, he's not good. I'm going with the Bengals. I think laying less than a touchdown. If Cincinnati cares enough for 60 minutes, they'll win this game by 14-17. The thing is, are they going to give up in the fourth quarter once they are up by a lot? I don't think so. I think they'll win this game comfortably. Give me the Bengals in the under. Give me some type of 27-13 game.
And don't forget who Lamar Jackson's agent is. Do you guys know?
Oh, God. It's not,
Is it the Mets guy?
I was going to say, it's not Boris, is it?
No.
Is it Rosenhaus? Rosenhaus?
It's his mom.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because he was
forgot about
representing
that,
himself before. That's right.
Correct. It's his mom is representing him. So
once again, I'm not officially accusing Lamar of milking an injury to basically abandon his team. But the point is, something's gone wrong with the rehab. I don't know why people are expecting Lamar to look like peak Lamar after not practicing and potentially being at like 70%.
you should tweet that out there and see if he'll engage you. Can you imagine what a boost to your career that would be if Lamar like engaged with your tweet?
Engaged you.
Define
flip the bird at you.
Does Twitter clout count as a boost? Like, I don't even know what that even counts for anymore.
Of course it does.
I don't know.
You can raise your Q rating.
That's right.
Maybe.
All right, Chris, what do you got here?
Just looking back at that article there, Rappaport tried to shed light on why Jackson hasn't come back. He said, I think what it is, and it's hard to understand because Lamar's so different, and he needs to be full go, and he's so fast twitch and athletic that when he doesn't feel right, he can't be the same guy. So his knee's still not quite right. He's not all the way back. Now, if that's the case, you might as well just tell Baltimore to stay home.
Yeah.
We saw last week how badly they looked with Anthony Brown, who was, 19 of 44 passing or something like that. Huntley's not a whole lot better.
Yeah, what do they say in professional sports? The hardest thing to learn is the difference between injured and hurt.
Yeah.
And it sounds like Lamar's hurt, but maybe not necessarily injured at this point. So,
Harbaugh says that Jackson's been in great spirits and is working super hard to return.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, I'm sure they've been saying that for 6 weeks now.
Also going to throw this out. Rappaport had another report on Twitter a couple hours ago. Roquan Smith got a 5-year, $100 million deal. He's the first off-ball linebacker to make $20 million per year. Is that suggesting they're potentially saving money by not paying Lamar? Maybe. So maybe you could read in between the lines there. We'll see. It's a weird timing, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
So just keep that in mind.
I mean, to be fair, Baltimore's defense has been better since Smith came on. The
I'm
problem
not saying Roquan doesn't deserve it. I'm just saying your quarterback's been demanding a massive contract for months. He's injured. You're about to go into a playoff game, and then you pay him $100 million. The timing seems like a little bit of a middle finger. Can we say it to Lamar? It kind of feels that way.
Perhaps a little suspect. All right, very good. So, Chris, you got the Ravens here. I mean, you have the Bengals here as well.
Yeah, I think you've got to go with the Bengals and the under. I mean, Baltimore has scored more than 17 points once in the last 8 games, and that came against Jacksonville, the game where they blew it late and lost. Last 6, you're looking 10, 16, 3 against Cleveland, 17 against the Falcons, 13 against the Steelers in the second meeting, and then they had 16, last week, but how much of that was in garbage time when the game was already well out of hand? I don't think you can trust Baltimore to score more than 14 points, and even that would be generous considering what we've seen from this team all season. I think Cincinnati wins and it's not close.
Rocky?
Yeah, I'm with all of you guys. I think I might change my answer from the beginning of the show too and say the Bengals might win 65-7. Yeah, look, they're on an 8-game win streak. Sure, in the middle of that, there was a canceled game in which they were winning 7-3. So you could count that as a 9th-game winning streak. In terms of Michael Scott, whoever is winning, I guess, is ahead. Whoever's ahead wins.
That sounded like a Michael Scott quote in itself, so I think that's good enough.
Yeah,
but
I'm an idiot. I don't know. There's not much to say about this. Lamar Jackson, he's hurt. I don't think there's anything to do with the contract stuff. He probably wants to be on the field. He's a competitor. He wants to play. He wants to win. He wants to prove to the Bengals that he's better. But I got the under in this still. Actually, I'm a walking contradiction. In conclusion, I think the Bengals are going to win, but it's going to be under 43.5 points.
Okay, well, that's all right. If you're not getting much of a contribution from one side, you can still cover it. Got to thread the needle there a little bit, but we've seen it happen many times.
For the record, on the Roquan Smith deal, Tom Pelissero says that could open the door for Baltimore to stick the old franchise tag on Lamar and, string this out for another year.
Oh, I expect him to get franchise tagged. I just think Lamar is going to refuse to play, and you're going to have a massive holdout on your hands. But Baltimore's not going to let him walk for free. But the point is,
what are you paying in a franchise tag? $45 million?
Let me see if I can find that out.
At this point, what is a franchise? It's the average salary of the top 5 or 10. Okay,
top 5.
It's probably around like 38 to 42, give or take.
The 2023 exclusive quarterback franchise tag currently projects to $45.248.
Oh, you're right. Okay, it was 45.
Hello.
Well done.
Hello.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, because Mahomes is a bargain now.
Yeah.
Well, all those guys, if you're not Deshaun Watson, are a bargain.
Well, I mean,
Rodgers.
Russell Wilson ain't a bargain.
Oh, that's true.
Rodgers.
I was saying all those guys that signed long-term deals, ahead of time, because you figure going into this season or last season, the non-exclusive franchise tag for quarterbacks was just over 29.7.
Outrageous.
Yeah, the two teams that jumped ahead in the giving your best players long-time contracts are the Chiefs and the Braves. They're ahead of the curve.
Absolutely.
So
we'll see what happens.
Now, theoretically, if you were to trade Lamar Jackson, what can they get for him?
It's a bunch of picks. You're rebuilding. I mean, I don't.
Sean Payton.
And
I think
you think they fire Harbaugh? You think they fire Harbaugh?
No,
I don't think they're going to fire.
But
I think Harbaugh should.
Then you could have Sean Payton, and then you could trade him to somebody else.
Maybe they
three-way trade.
Maybe they bring in the other Harbaugh, and that way they can keep all the initial shit and keep his parking spot the same and parking reserve for JH and all that. They don't have to change anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe.
All right. Hey, that's the show, guys. As always, we appreciate you stopping by to spend a little time with us. Hope you've had some fun. Hope you've learned something. And I think overall we're looking for an underwhelming weekend. A lot of unders is what I'm hearing here. So good luck, everybody, and let's find out where these guys are going to be. Where you can find out more from them about whatever they're on for any particular day. Scott Reichel, I know you're at Reichel Radio over there on Twitter. Where else can we see you?
Well, you can find me on the Winners and Whiners YouTube page doing free picks every night. Unfortunately, if you did not know that, you missed out on Georgia minus 12.5, which might have been the easiest bet of all time. But besides that, yeah, doing a bunch of podcasts as well. Find that all on my Twitter. All free.
All free. All free.
Talk
That's
about
right.
cheap.
Chris, what are you doing?
Well, I mean, you can find me on the Winners and Whiners site, usually writing about everything that's going on, whether it's college basketball, whether it's the NBA, the NHL, now the NFL playoffs. And on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern, you can catch me on the Winners and Whiners YouTube channel with just parlays with me, because, as I say every week, I'm the only one here.
Doing it live.
Yeah, I had a good one last week that was 47-1. So
nice,
outstanding. Another monster parlay. Rock, I know you're in Boston right now. Where can we find you?
I'm on Twitter at Rocky Foré. You can also find me here in Boston trying to kick those dumb redcoats back across the Atlantic.
Finding a lot of redcoats there in Boston, are you, buddy?
Not yet.
Okay. Well, remember when you go out to dinner, you got to put your lanterns out. You have to put out one lantern if you're going for seafood and two lanterns if you're going for steak. So that's a rule in Boston.
And don't
also, when you go out to
go ahead, Rachel.
Yeah, sorry. I was going to say, when you go out to dinner, don't forget to pay the tax on tea.
Yes, absolutely.
Oh, I never do.
Okay.
And don't forget to say hi to Norm Peterson and Cliff Clavin.
That might be too much of a deep dive.
I believe that is the Bull and Finch.
It is.
Is that place? All right, very good. Okay, before we devolve even into more 80s TV show references, we're going to wrap this show up. As always, guys, we couldn't do it without you. We appreciate you being here throughout the entire season. We have what do we have? 3 more episodes after this. We got the division, we got the conference finals, and then we have the Super Bowl. So we have a
Rocky Super Bowl extravaganza.
Yep, Rocky Super Bowl extravaganza. Get your tickets now before they go up. They're going to be more expensive at the door, so make sure you grab yours in advance. And again, one more time, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to drop us a comment, tell us what you think of the show, let us know what you're playing this week. And if you're looking for premium plays, Chris and I both have them of it. We'll make sure you check out winnersandwhiners.com, go into the experts tab, and there you will find all of our daily deals as well as a totally transparent leaderboard so you can find out how everybody's doing. All right? Hey, you guys have a great week. Thanks for joining us. Good luck. Let's go out there and win some money. We'll be back next week to talk all about it as we talk about the division round on Once Upon a Time in Las Vegas, the rise of the greatest sports betting show in the world. Take care, everybody.
Are you ready? You really think they're going to call right at 10? Won't they try to play it cool? Wait like a day or two? But then the other team in the league? Absolutely. But this is the Broncos. You could smell the desperation from here. But what does Denver have left to give? They've already traded away their first 2 picks for the next 2 years. Absolutely not. They have plenty of picks left. Besides, we're playing the long game. Nothing wrong with 2024 or 2025. No way. For a coach? Just wait. What time is it?
10 seconds.
That's perfect. The phone should be ringing in about 3, 2, 1.
Mickey Loomis's office? Let me see. He sure has been busy this morning.
Oh, good morning, Rob. Good morning, George. And what can I do for the GM and owner of the Broncos on this fine day? Well, as a matter of fact, he is available. Well, your call certainly caught me by surprise. But let's see if I can have an offer I can spitball you here. Okay, so we know you're a little bit short in the next couple of years, so how about your 3rd round pick in 2023 and a 1st rounder and a 2nd rounder in 2025? A Jack LaLanne power juicer, yeah. A pair of Heelys size 8.5 and size 9. I would like 1 life-size hula doll. We'll take Justin Simmons. And I like that doll from the movie Megan. Yeah, that is a lot, I'm sure. But remember, you're getting the Sean Payton. Right, I get that. Well, but we also want something else. That horse statue from the airport. Plus, Saints owner Gail Benson would like John Elway to come to New Orleans and personally detail her Mercedes for every week that Sean Payton is the coach of the Denver Broncos. Oh, wow, the statue is 32 feet tall and 9,000 pounds. Well, better get a big truck then. Sure, take your time. Just so you know, my phone's been ringing off the hook. And I'd hate to see him miss out. You know how Sean Payton is with those short QBs. Okay then, yeah. We'll look forward to hearing you soon.
Oh my God, that was hilarious.
Oh, yeah, they are not good.
You should have asked him for Barrel Man.
What is a barrel man?
Yeah, remember that big guy with the beard who used to wear nothing but a barrel on the sidelines?
Oh yeah, I love that guy. Hang on, Barrel Man is on his way to NOLA. Get me Nathan Peterman on the phone. Give me James Cameron. Give me David Carr. Not Derek, David. Give me the Prince of England. The hot one. Give me Condoleezza Rice. Give me the steamroller. Get me Josh Schultz. I don't care if you don't know who that is. Get me Sides Up. Yes, I will leave a message. I don't have the time. Give me Chris Pratt. Give me Chris King. Give me Chris Kattan. Chris Rasmussen. Give me Chris Kringle. Give me Chris Jenner. Give me Chris Nolan. Give me my ex-wife. Not the first one. Second one. Give me BYU. I don't care. Whoever. Give me Thomas the Train. Get me Percy. Get me Diesel. I don't care how mad he is. Give me the Ravens mascot, Poe. And then also the Teletubby Poe. Give me Marissa Tomei. Give me Barbara Walters. She what?